A racist cop, Officer Dalton, notorious for abusing his power and using excessive force on people who didn't look like him, patrols the park. As he walks through, looking for his next target, he spots Mike Tyson, the former world champion, taking a casual walk, not looking for trouble. But trouble had a way of finding him. As Tyson passes by, Officer Dalton grabs his hand and shoves him against the wall, reaching for his bat and strike. What Dalton doesn't realize is that he has just made the biggest mistake of his life. Subscribe and like this video to see how the story unfolds. The stillness of the sun-drenched streets was a welcome contrast to the tumult of the boxing ring, where Tyson's name had once echoed like a thunderclap. The former heavyweight champion, dressed in casual yet athletic attire, strolled along the serene park, savoring a moment of peace. A fight was the last thing on his mind. Mike Tyson, the baddest man on the planet, just wanted to enjoy the calm of a summer day. That serenity shattered the moment a black and white police cruiser came into view. Its presence was an omen, something more sinister than a simple traffic check. Officer Rick Dalton, his face a mask of disdainful contempt, leaned against the cruiser, arms crossed in a display of arrogance. Dalton was known throughout the city as a racist with a badge, a lawman who saw the world through a lens of hate and bigotry. His belief system was a poisonous cocktail of prejudice and authority, spiked with a chilling conviction: power through intimidation. He particularly enjoyed wielding that power against those who didn't share his skin color, but he saw himself as a white knight, not a guardian of justice, but a vicious enforcer of his twisted worldview. Like a predator spotting its prey, Officer Dalton zeroed in on Mike Tyson, his eyes narrowing with malevolent intent. In his mind, the former champ's fame and prowess only made him a more tantalizing target. Dalton believed he could make an example out of Tyson, proving the power of his badge and the supposed superiority of his race. As Tyson walked past, Dalton's predatory gaze raked over his body, taking in the rippling muscles beneath his clothing like a connoisseur appraising fine art. Suddenly, Dalton barked, his voice carrying the authority of a drill sergeant. "Hey!" The single word hung in the air like a challenge, slicing through the quiet street. Tyson remained silent, his years of experience dealing with corrupt cops like Dalton serving him well. Like a lion standing its ground against a hyena, he dared Dalton to make his next move. Dalton mistook Tyson's silence for weakness. Smirking, his lips twisted into a grotesque imitation of a smile. "You deaf?" "I said stop," Dalton repeated, his voice dripping with a mocking sneer. "You people don't listen, do you?" Tyson's response, despite the simmering tension, was measured and calm. He maintained his composure, refusing to be baited. "Something wrong, officer?" he asked. The words slipped out between clenched teeth. As sharp as blades from a scabbard, Dalton's arms folded across his chest, his posture one of dominance. "What are you doing here?" he growled. The question more accusation than inquiry. Tyson's lips curled into a wry smile, his eyes locking onto Dalton's. "Just taking a walk, officer." Dalton spat, his voice laced with sarcasm. "People like you don't take walks in neighborhoods like this." Tyson's expression darkened, his heavy brow creasing. His eyes, flashing with cold anger, bore into Dalton. "That a crime now?" Tyson asked, his voice carrying an edge. "Last I checked, this was a free country." Dalton sneered. "Depends," he said, malice dripping from every syllable. "I don't like the way you're walking. Real arrogant, like you own the place." The air between them thickened, charged with unspoken violence. Tyson stood firm, his muscles coiled, ready. "Man, I'm just minding my business." "You should try it," Tyson said, his words landing like a slap in the face. Dalton's face twisted with rage, the audacity of Tyson's defiance striking a raw nerve. "You got ID." Dalton snapped, his voice a whip crack of fury. Tyson's laughter rang out, dark and contemptuous. His eyes, sharp with intelligence, met Dalton's with steely resolve. "Do I look like I need ID to walk?" Dalton's hand tightened around his baton. "You think you're some kind of tough guy?" He bellowed to Tyson's hands clenched into tight fists. He could feel it, the coming storm, the inevitable explosion of violence. Dalton wouldn't back down. Neither would he. The baton swung, a blurring arc of pain-inducing metal slicing toward Tyson's skull. But Tyson, his reflexes honed by years in the ring, sidestepped at the last possible moment. Dalton's weapon whistled harmlessly through the air. The sudden loss of momentum sent Dalton stumbling forward, his rage turning to humiliation. Tyson's voice, low and menacing, rumbled with a warning. "You don't want to do this, man." Dalton, humiliated, snarled. "You just assaulted an officer." Tyson scoffed. "Man, you assaulted the air. Now, get out of my way." Dalton's restraint snapped. With a primal roar, he lunged, baton raised. Tyson moved like a phantom, ducking under the wild swing. Pivoting, he transferred his weight into a devastating right hook. The punch slammed into Dalton's ribs like a wrecking ball, the crack of bones drowned out by his agonized scream. The force sent Dalton stumbling back, colliding with his cruiser. Tyson didn't stop. A left uppercut, as fast as a cobra's strike, connected with Dalton's jaw. His head snapped back, his body careening into the car. Dalton, breath ragged, clawed for his radio, a desperate attempt to call for backup. But Tyson's foot came down hard, crushing it beneath his heel. "Nah, you don't need that," Tyson hissed. Dalton's once arrogant eyes now brimmed with fear. He was trapped, a prisoner of his own bigotry. The crowd, once silent, erupted. Phones were out, cameras rolling, capturing every second. The moment would spread like wildfire across social media, exposing the corruption. Dalton, shaking, reached for his gun. The crowd gasped. Tyson moved in a blur. His hand shot out, slamming into Dalton's wrist. Crack! The gun clattered to the ground. Tyson delivered the final blow, a monstrous left hook that lifted Dalton off his feet. He crashed to the pavement like a fallen titan. The crowd roared. "Damn, he just got folded," someone shouted. Dalton lay broken, a man stripped of power and pride. Tyson loomed over him, fists clenched. "Next time," he said, voice deadly calm, "pick on someone your own size." Dalton staggered to his feet, his body wrecked. He stumbled toward his cruiser, defeated. The street exploded into celebration. "Tyson! Tyson! Tyson!" the crowd chanted. The footage went viral within minutes. The headlines spoke for themselves. Mike Tyson destroys corrupt cop, justice served. Racist cop learns why you don't mess with a boxing legend. Dalton, once untouchable, now faced the consequences. An investigation swiftly followed, stripping him of his badge, his authority, his power. As Tyson walked away, the city buzzed with the legend of what had just happened, but a story that would be told and retold. A testament to the fact that justice sometimes comes from the most unexpected places.